You're listening to a Shockcast original. Shock.
The C Word with Calista.
So welcome back to the C Word with me, Calista, where I find the most interesting people and then I talk to them about the things that they know the best. And for Claudia Tan, it is a lot. Hey, girl.
Hi, Calista. Thank you for letting me on the show.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you for a while because I know you're a singer, you're a songwriter, we play your music on hits, and then you're also an author and about to add some Hollywood things to that resume. So I kind of want to start from the beginning because that was like mind-blowing to me when I found that out. Because I've always heard about like Wattpad and stuff, but I didn't know until recently that people were actually making movies out of Wattpad. I always thought it was like some fan fiction and then that's it. I think it was just like Wattpad came about slightly after my writing phase. I think we all go through that writing, reading phase.
Yeah.
Slightly after. So I was never really on Wattpad. But let's start from the beginning. Which came first, singing or writing?
So writing definitely came first because I was writing when I was like younger, maybe like when I was a teenager about like, you know, I got into the craze when like the Hunger Games and like all that kind of stuff. So then I got into reading a lot, then I got into writing after that. So it was around like 15 and 16 when I joined Wattpad and I started writing. I really didn't think anything was going to come out of it. Genuinely speaking, didn't think anything was going to happen because that was my first series. I just thought that it was just something that I was going to do to like, you know, practice my writing and like be good at it. And then someday, maybe in the like later on, like I can become a like, you know, best-selling author or whatever, you know, that's always the dream, right? I picked up like quite a, you know, like moderate fan base with the series, and then it was really fun to like interact with everybody like who was reading it and stuff like that. So it was quite amazing that like, you know, there were people that really liked the series and stuff like that. So yeah, and then obviously like Wattpad sort of like picked up wind that like, you know, this series was like quite popular, and you know, they were starting to veer off into like just like other forms of publishing and like movies also and stuff. And with the success of like After, which is like the one that kind of catapulted everything. Yeah, so After is a very popular like new adult franchise, movie franchise now. And then like they've been trying to like find books that, you know, they can recreate the same success. So they reached out to me and they're like, hey, we're interested. Constantine is interested in like producing the movie. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. But I really tried to set my expectations like, you know, moderate, because like you know how it is in the film industry, like things get picked up and then get dropped like really quickly. Like, so
I think that's the entertainment industry in general, right? Like I never believe anything's gonna happen until the moment it happens.
Yeah. Even now also, I still have like a hint of doubt. Like even now with like a casting director and a director and all the actors attached to it and stuff like that, it's still like, you know, it still hasn't hit me yet. But like that was when it really kind of solidified, like when the news broke, right? Like that was a director and like a cast and stuff like that. That was when it was like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Like for real though, you know? But yeah, like I'm really excited that it's happening. And then also alongside of that news, there's also publication news. So like the series is being published finally after like 6 years of it being just on Wattpad. It's finally going to be like actual published series, which I'm very excited about.
So it's going to be available in bookstores?
If I recall, yeah, like it's probably going to be in books. I'm not sure here, but like it's probably going to be sold on like Amazon or like Book Depository and all the like websites. Yeah.
Okay. And I think like people might be a little bit confused about what we're talking about. So the series is actually called Perfect, right?
Yeah, it's called the Perfect series. It's a romance book series that each book has a different couple like story that has attached to it, but they're all like friends. So like, yeah, it's 3 full-length novels and 1 novella. So like so it's a series.
Oh, okay. So every book is about a different couple.
Yeah.
So would you need to, like, is it one of those series that you need to start from like book 1, book 2, book 3, or could you just pick up like book 2 and be able to still follow the story?
Yeah, I think you can definitely still pick up like the second or third book or whatever, because they're just like they're standalone novels. So like each story is contained within like the story within the book itself. But I mean, some characters obviously appear in other books, and then you kind of see how they're doing. So like you get minor spoilers in that sense. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what inspired the whole series? Why did you suddenly decide to, like, I would say pick up a pen, but start typing?
I always really, really like romance books. Like I like to write about like love, but like not just like love itself, but like kind of like the trials that come with it. So like a lot of like the romance is like messy and like kind of explore like what happens to them, like all the ugly parts but also the good parts, so like I really like it. And especially with book 2, which is the one that's becoming a movie, like I like to set things in like a bit more high stakes, so there's like boxing involved amidst like, so there's like a lot of action that goes hand in hand with the romance, which is what I personally like to read about. So yeah,
you actually posted, I can't remember, was it on your Instagram or on your TikTok, that once the couple gets together, love becomes boring.
Oh yeah, like I am such a massive fan of like slow burn romance. So like it's like the will they won't they that is like really, really fun. And I feel like I'm not the only one. I'm sure like a lot of like romance readers also like can relate to me. But like the second they get together, it's like, what do I do now? Like I mean, I got what I wanted and I don't really care about what really happens after. Like I know they're gonna get together in the end. So yeah.
There's no more drama or build up or like passionate like moments.
I guess it's the same.
Life, right?
I guess it can be the same can be said for like dating in general. Like you kind of like the chase, but then as you get together, you're like, oh, what do we do now?
But that's kind of like the same premise as like you were mentioning earlier on the After series, right?
Yeah.
It's like this whole, okay, are they going to get together? Is this still a game? Okay, they're together now, but are they going to break up? And it's just like this whole journey between these two characters that you're rooting for them, but at the same time, kind of in the middle, like, I don't want them to be together,
it's
but no, I do
drama.
want them to be together.
Drama is the fun part. The will they won't they drama, Yeah.
So what is Perfect? The one that's being made into a movie is Perfect Addiction, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is Perfect Addiction about?
Perfect Addiction is about this girl. Her name's Sienna. Her life gets turned upside down when she finds out that her boyfriend of 3 years and her sister have been sleeping together. So it's very dramatic from the get-go. Yeah, and her now ex-boyfriend, he is this MMA underground like fighters, and she knows that like he cares about that a lot. Like he cares about fighting and stuff like that. And she's a trainer herself. She's an MMA trainer herself. So she sets out to get revenge, against him by training like his arch nemesis in the cage, in the boxing ring, Kanan. And yeah, so like, that happens and romance and sparks ensue and you'll see what happens in the end. I don't want to spoil so much, but yeah.
So she starts this whole thing just with the main goal of getting vengeance, right?
Yeah.
I love this, and I love that we're doing this right now because I don't know if you are a fan of Taylor Swift, the release of Red Taylor's version. And
yeah, I just watched All Too Well, the short story film. I was really obsessed with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I am a fan of the whole let's do this huge like production in our own lives just to get like a slight bit of revenge. Like I am a fan of it. So Perfect Addiction is perfect for me.
Yeah, that pun.
But was it inspired by anything? Like did something happen, or it was just something that you created out of?
I wouldn't say it's like directly inspired by anything, but at the time when I was writing it, I was feeling a lot of like angst around it, like teenage angst, like I had a falling out with my best friend. So like it was kind of like the perfect time, like wanting to write that story came at a perfect time. So I channel a lot of like the anger into like the main character. And just as she's kind of like going through, unraveling that anger and becoming a better person. Like, so like I was also going through that journey too. So like it was quite therapeutic in that sense. Yeah.
Did you always want to become an author?
Yeah, I definitely always wanted to become an author. I didn't know I was going to be an author and a singer at the same time. So like that kind of like came out of nowhere actually.
Okay. Well, then I assume the Perfect series is not like the first thing you've written, right? Like did you write other things, or was this the first thing that you put on Wattpad?
This was the first thing I put on Wattpad. Yeah, okay. Like the other stuff, like I don't even want to mention because they're so terrible.
We all have that teenage novel.
Yeah.
Burned.
For sure.
But I think, okay, I just realized we might be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because Wattpad is something that I feel is very specific to our generation or like the younger generation, and people might not know what it is. So what is Wattpad? How would you explain it? Because I've also never really been on it. I just know kind of what it's about.
Basically, it's this like online site where you can publish your stories on and so people, who are on Wattpad, readers who will go on Wattpad to read stories, they'll comment on your stories and stuff like that. And what makes it so special is like you can upload stories either one go, or most of the time it's like per chapter. So you're updating as the chapter as the story progresses, right? Because you want to get that real-time comments, because that's the fun part about Wattpad. You get to interact with your fans, and based on the comments you can literally take the story like how your fans want it to go. So yeah, that's what's special about it.
So how do people find your book though? Since it sounds like a social media for writers and readers.
Basically, I'm sort of part of this program called the Wattpad Stars program. So it's kind of like writers that, Wattpad likes to go to do commission stories or whatever. And they'll find opportunities for you because, you have already a established fan base, and your works are proven to be already popular. So they like to have that kind of group of writers that they like to go to for those kinds of opportunities. So that's how I got approached. So I've already established that kind of relationship through there. And then they were like, hey, let's do a movie. Yeah.
Okay. But when you first uploaded your writing, how did people find the book to start reading it and create that fan base? Before it even became a series, how did
I mean, I feel like it's a combination of a lot of things, consistent updating. I was updating, I don't know what I was doing. I had no life after the video. I don't know how I did it. I was really 3 chapters in 1 week, kind of thing, which was quite crazy. One chapter is 3,000-4,000 words, right? You need at least a good 4-5 hours to write that kind of stuff. I was doing it at lightning speed pace, on top of studying also. I don't know how I cope with it, but so it was to that people really do like consistent updates. So I really try to hey, here's something for you guys, and then a few days later you can continue the story really fast, and obviously because of that I was climbing up the rankings, because there's a ranking system on Wattpad as well. And also it got an award. So it got the Waddies Award. So it's this in-house Wattpad competition kind of thing. So that also helped exacerbate the popularity of it.
Yeah, I saw 81 million people read Perfect Addiction, and then you won a People's Choice Award in the 2015 Waddies and the 2016 Waddies as well.
Yeah, that one was for the sequel Perfect Redemption. So that was the third book. Yeah.
Okay, how did you react when you found out that it was the book was blowing up and you were actually getting recognized?
Yeah, I really enjoyed talking to my readers and stuff like that, because they're the ones that make it happen, and I really enjoyed those conversations where we're I'll post a chapter, then after that we'll discuss about it, what's gonna happen next. There's always theories and stuff like that go about also. It's very interesting to read. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Do you like to follow the theories, or you're just okay, so I think a lot of people think this is going to happen. I cannot make this happen. It has to go somewhere else now, just to keep it the plot twist going?
No. I try to have a plot already, at least an ending in mind, before I start it. But obviously there are some exceptions. I never thought that I was going to do a third book. So the third book is actually the villain. Is the villain story of the second book. So the ex-boyfriend, so he has a redemption arc in the third book. So that never entered my mind. But as readers, were reading the second book, they're you should do this, you should do a book about him, he's so interesting. I'm maybe I should. And that kind of came about. Yeah, it's quite crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now we're only going to get a movie for the second book.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that one does well, then hopefully we can get the prequel and the sequel.
Hopefully, maybe, yeah.
Okay. And did you even think that this was possible? What was your thought process when you got approached by them to say okay, we want to make this into a movie?
I mean, I was obviously super excited, probably crying and a lot of tears. I think it I think for the longest time, it just never seemed like a possibility. Like, I'm like very small town girl, like, because I'm from Kuching or so, like, kind of thing. I come from a very small town.
East Malaysians represent.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so you didn't think like when this kind of opportunity comes along, it just feels like so surreal. Like it's completely out of like what you are comfortable with and stuff like that. It's scary, but it's also like, yeah, really exciting too. Yeah.
So what's the whole process? Because I mean, this is not something like you can ask anybody. Like, how many people do you know that have been approached by like Hollywood? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the process like? Do they come to you and say, we want to make your book into a movie? Like, do you have a part to play in the screenplay? Are there contracts? Like, what's the whole process?
Yeah, what happens is that like when a production house or whatever, they express interest, like, hey, we want to try to make your movie. So there's that stage of it, whereas like Wattpad is just trying to shop around for like possible production houses and like people who might be interested in writing the script and stuff like that. So that's a very long process, right? In itself. So once like, Constantine Pictures and Constantine Films and JP Pictures, they wanted to come into the project. So that's the second stage. They move into like pre-production stage. Even now it's still considered pre-production stage. So they're like looking for, the crew and like trying to find funding for the movie and stuff like that. Yeah, so we're in that stage now. So as soon as like that is done, then that's like green light, and then they'll start shooting already. Yeah.
I heard they have already been looking, like the casting has already been done, right?
Yeah.
So who are the people that are going to be in the movie?
The news broke out that like they casted the 3 main leads. So Sienna is going to be played by Kiana Madeira. She was in Fear Street recently, and she's really, really good at it. You should watch her in those films. And then Ross Butler is going to be playing Kaden, so he's going to be playing the love interest, which is so amazing. Like, Asian love interest in like a boxing film. It's kind of cool.
And it's Ross Butler, so
yeah, Ross Butler. Oh my god, it's so crazy. And I think he's like Malaysian. Well, his mom is Malaysian, I think. So like it's quite cool.
Yeah, I read he's got some ties, but like the past few things that he's been in have just been like amazing.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, he's like in Shazam also, and like he's doing many things. And also Matthew Nosga like will be playing Jack. And so fun fact, but like I actually fan casted him. Okay, so on Wattpad you can like fan cast possible like your cast, like how I would picture like like was looking like, and I casted him before, like I fan casted him before for like one of my other characters. So it's kind of crazy that he's in an actual like movie like for this book, which is crazy. Yeah, but I'm not sure about the others yet. Like one thing about it is that like I'm not very involved in it. Like if there's a script and stuff like that, like I do see it and I am allowed to like express my opinions about it, but it's really up to the director and like the production team to carry the movie. Yeah.
So during filming and everything, like you won't be too involved. It's gonna be one of those movies that they'll put like based on a novel by Claudia.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm not involved like at all. Like, but I do hope they do invite me to go on set. So
they better.
Yeah, they better.
And the premiere and like you have to.
Yeah.
And because you're Malaysian, they have to do a Malaysian premiere. Like I feel like that's one thing like we never get over here. Like they do a premiere, but how many times do the stars actually come down?
Yeah. Right? I guess it depends on like whether it's like an international like premiere kind of thing or it's like select theaters only. So we're not even sure if we might even get it here. But I do hear talks about like it being on online streaming, so we'll never know. Yeah.
After was only select cinemas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it on Netflix, I think it was. Yeah. And that's actually how I found out about movies from Wattpad being made from stories on Wattpad. And then somehow, honestly, I don't even remember how I found out your book was going to be on Wattpad. I think it was just before you were involved in Vaccine for a New Scene.
Oh, yeah.
So Vaccine for a New Scene is a song that we Hits FM teamed up with MFMF and Claudia Tan to make a song to, try and get people to go and get vaccinated for COVID. And think it was some serendipitous thing that I came across a post about you, your book being made into a movie. And then I realized you were the same Claudia Tan that we were working with for the song. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, a lot of people
crazy.
like don't make the correlation, but I mean, I try to keep both like separate. Like I don't try to like mix it a lot. Even now, like actually, you might not. Nobody knows this yet, so I'm gonna change my name from my artist name from Claudia Tan to Claudia, just Claudia, but in caps lock, just to kind of like have a little bit more separation for like both of my stuff. Yeah.
So writing wise, it's still Claudia Tan, and music wise, it'll be Claudia.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And just before I get, because we're already talking about the music, just before I get there, just one more question. When do you think we will be able to see Perfect Addiction on screens?
From what I hear, could be quite soon. I mean, not like in the next few months kind of thing, but like I think they're looking at 2020, end of 2022 to like maybe 2023. So like that relatively soon in terms of entertainment, like
Yeah. Especially because production hasn't even happened yet, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But production will be happening soon. Yeah.
Okay. And you wrote something new, right?
Yeah, so the movie stuff and like, you know, all the craze about like publishing got me really excited. And then I actually went back on Wattpad again and started writing. And I started this new story called Real, and it's about this Asian girl. Her name is Alina. Oh, my first POC character, by the way. Yeah, so she finds out one day, she makes a drunken wish that her Wattpad characters were real. Her Wattpad male characters were real, and they come into the world, and the three guys are a mafia man, a werewolf, and Harry Styles.
Because of course.
Yeah, because of course. And so she's panicking, and she comes up with this crazy plan to like return them back to Wattpad headquarters in Canada. So there's this epic road trip that happens with the four of them. So it's quite fun. It's just crazy road trip shenanigans.
So your story isn't based in Malaysia?
Yeah, I try not to, because I think like I don't know, like the stories I want to tell, like I feel in general just isn't limited to a single country. So I just like to base it like, you know, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we get back to music, of course, you're becoming a lot more well-known in the Malaysian music scene. And so I first learned of you when we started playing your single Bodies on Hits FM, because there's definitely
you
like
commented on my TikTok.
Yes, I did, because I was so like blown away, because to me it was something different. I don't know. I'm not very educated on the local music scene, but what I've noticed is a lot of local artists, they prefer to do more indie sounding music. Mm-hmm. And yours was just full blown pop. And I was like, this is what I've been waiting for, you know, like because I don't listen to indie music. That just translates as I don't listen to a lot of Malaysian music, just because the genre is different. But when Bodies came out, I was like, I love this song. You're telling me this is by a Malaysian artist?
Thank you so much. Oh my god. Yeah, I totally feel you. Like I don't listen to a lot of like indie music. Maybe indie pop is the most I dabble into. Yeah, but I've always been like a pop girl. Like I mean, I grew up listening to hits. You know what I mean? Like every single day is what I hear going to school. It's just pop music, and I really, really just love that. And I think like as an artist is so important also, like especially a local artist, is to like really find like, I mean for me anyways, like the plan is to really try to find like a base in like mainstream, you know, like kind of like community, and like that's what I want my music to like. I don't want it to just appeal to just a small group of people, but more like in general, like more mainstream lah. Yeah, that's my plan.
So was it scary to come up with because like I said, like most Malaysian musicians don't seem to go that way. So was it scary to kind of say, no, I want to try and get in with the international sound?
I don't think it was like a matter of like scary. Like maybe it was a bit intimidating in terms of like, oh, now I have to like compete with like, you know, really like big stars, Dua Lipa, like, you know, all these kind of people and stuff like that. So like that's a bit scary in that sense, but like I never doubted that I wanted to, you know, have that kind of sound, like to have a pop sound.
And you said you didn't expect to be able to do like writing and singing. So you started writing when you were a teenager. When did you start singing?
I think I've always liked singing, like in general when I was a kid also, but like I never really got into songwriting until like when I was in college. So around like 18 and 19, I was like experiencing heartbreak, like, and then me and my little ukulele, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write some heartbreak songs. Yeah. And so after that, it was like a matter of like, connecting to like, my producer, who's also my boyfriend, Erwin. And then we started just kind of like experimenting and like making music.
I was gonna say you met your boyfriend through music, right?
Yeah, I did.
How did that even? Okay, take me through the process. So you were experiencing heartbreak. You picked up your ukulele. You started writing a heartbreak song, and then what? Because I think like a lot of people will be like, okay, I wrote something, but now I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. So like I wrote some stuff and I did post on like my Instagram and like my Insta stories and stuff like that. And then I reconnected with a mutual friend of mine. Like he was like, hey, your song's really nice. Like I think you should like produce them. Like I know someone who might be interested in like doing that. And I'm like, cool. And I'm like, I think at that time, because this was a few years back, like my idea of producers were like, middle-aged men in studios, like kind of thing. So like when my friend took me to meet like Erwin for the first time, I genuinely didn't expect him to look the way he did. Like, so it kind of just like made me shook for a bit. But then after a while, like we connected and then we did some recordings and the rest is history, as they say.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
But did you always knew that you could sing?
I mean, I really did like singing. I did a lot of concerts and stuff like that when I was in high school. Like, and I mean, people did compliment me on my singing, but I think like there's one thing about like being a singer and also like having to make good music. It doesn't often correlate together. You really need to like learn probably the craft of songwriting. So yeah, I never thought that I always thought that I would sing, like, but I didn't thought I would be like a music artist, if that makes sense,
Yeah, I think there are a lot of good singers, but just because you can sing doesn't mean you know how to like make music or write a song, right?
Yeah.
So do you prefer the songwriting process more or the actual singing?
Oh, I love songwriting though. Like I really do like, because it kind of like, it's a nice like middle ground of like my two hobbies, which is writing and singing anyways. So like I get to like kind of express like how I want to write a story in a song form essentially. So it's like quite fun. I like to like play with wordplay and like figure out how to make, things sound snappy, like sound catchy in your ear. Yeah.
What's the difference between writing a song and writing like a novel or the different kinds of writing?
I mean, with a novel, it's like you have like 100,000 words, so you can write like essentially whatever you want in it, right? Like you can go on like and on and on. But like with a song, you have to be really effective in like how you write your lyrics, right? So like one sentence alone, like, or at least the first verse needs to like convey at least the backstory of like what's gonna happen like in the whole song and stuff. So you really have to choose your words very carefully. You have to know how to rhyme very well, and you have to kind of weave that into a really catchy melody as well. And sometimes that takes a lot of practice.
Do you write the music and the melody as well? Or do you just write the lyrics and then, I don't know, team up with the production? Or
I write like all the songs myself, like with the chords and stuff like and the melodies is all for me. And then I just pass it to my producer and I'm like, okay, this is the song we're doing. Go do your stuff.
Okay, so you give like the lyrics and the rough cut of how you want it to sound, and then to make the magic.
Yeah, but sometimes like it depends on like what comes first actually, like because you asked me melodies first or like lyrics first, right? Sometimes it really depends. With bodies, it was like I want something that says I like your body on my body, and I want to use body in like every single line, and that was so the melody came afterwards. Like I just wanted that lyrics in and melody came after, but it really depends. Like most of the time it's lyrics first and then melody. Yeah,
I've always wondered about that because like I probably could like churn out a song. Doesn't mean it's gonna be a good song, but I could write something. But there is no way that I would be able to come up with a melody in my head. Like my brain would just never do that. So I'm always like kind of curious how the whole thing works. Like if you can do all of it,
If I'm starting like melodies first, then I would just go on my recording app, like my voice notes, right? And I was like hum something repeatedly over and over again. And then like I'll pick which certain melodies sound good, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll write a lyric for that. Yeah, but it takes a while. Yeah.
I guess that's the difference between like a musical person and someone who's not. I will introduce your song. That's my job.
Girl, you can do it. It just needs a lot of practice. I just tell you, it is a lot of practice. It took me years to be like now also, you know, and I still feel like I'm not there yet too. So yeah.
But you also said like you're now you want to focus more on your music, but this huge thing is happening with writing. So why are you choosing to focus on the music now?
I feel like just because I'm in a nice like spot right now, like because I'm a bit more free. Like all I'm doing right now is like rewriting the series now for publication, right? So like most of the job I've already, like 16-year-old me has already done. Like good job to her. Like for making my life so much easier now. Yeah, so like I wouldn't say a lot of time, but like half my time is kind of split with that, and then like you know, music. So I'm kind of flexible in that sense, and music it requires that kind of commitment also. So yeah.
So is this like your full-time thing, like writing and music?
Yeah. It's like 50-50, yeah.
Okay. So you don't have to split your time between like another job or anything?
No, writing is like pretty much, it takes like most of my income is from writing, yeah.
From Wattpad or from?
Yeah, from Wattpad and like the feature stuff, like the publication stuff, yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to like write for like, what's it called, copywriting or anything? You don't have to do that?
No,
Okay.
no. Those days are over. I used to do that too, and those days are finally over.
I do feel like if you're like a creative person, like getting a full-time job sometimes is not the best for like your creative self, right? Because if you're channeling all your creative juices into doing something for somebody else, by the time you get home, it's like you're flat, your battery's flat. Like
yeah. I did definitely feel that. Yeah.
It's a question I love to ask. Are you a night owl or a morning person?
I am a morning person. Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting because my like Erwin, he's my producer, right? He's a night owl, so like we have to like try to like find like the perfect sweet spot time to like make music.
That's why I like to ask, because so far all the creative people that I've spoken to, I would say 95%
night owls.
Night owls. I think the only morning people I've spoken to are you and Sailor Melise.
Oh.
Yeah, she
does seem like a morning person. Yeah.
When she said it, I felt that too. But before that, I was like expecting her to say night owl.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I don't want to keep you too long. This has been amazing. But my last question is, do you have any advice for anyone who wants to start writing, whether it's a novel, whether it's music, just writing in general?
Well, I mean, this is like quite basic, but like it really kind of like I always remind myself of this. Is like just do it, because I feel like sometimes a lot of people just overthink too much before they start writing, and with writing you just have to you just have to go in it like on a whim, like kind of thing. And yes, for sure there are gonna be times where you're gonna write out garbage, right? Like same goes for songwriting, actually. Like this is good advice for just arts in general. Like you're gonna just put out a lot of like garbage and stuff like that, but you know, eventually there's going to be one that's like, you know, this is it. This is a good one. Yeah. So yeah, just do it and just like keep practicing.
And other than Wattpad, is there anywhere else people can like publish their written work?
There are a lot, actually, like not just Wattpad. If you're more into writing fan fiction, there's AO3, there's fanfiction.net. Like I think with stuff like similar to Wattpad, there's also Radish fiction or something. There's a lot of these popping out. Like yeah, there's so many avenues now. Like publishing in general is not like how it was like, you know, a long time ago, where you have to go through an agent and then like, you know what I mean? Like fan base or like building a readership is so important now, like before you step into publishing. So that's what a lot of publishers look for. Yeah.
I feel like that's like the world in 2021 is all about a fan base and like you doing your own work before people will even like come in and help, right? It's all
it's a lot of like being independent, and like manifesting it, if you will, for yourself.
Yes, but what's next? Like you got this whole movie thing coming. You've written a new book. You have a new song coming, I think.
Yes, I do. I have a new song coming in December. So that's really exciting. That one is, I think it sounds a little bit different than like my other stuff. Well, it's a punk pop song. So like,
Ooh, okay.
it'll be fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of like high energy and like guitars and stuff like that. So it's gonna be awesome. And it's my last release of the year. But next year for sure, I'm gonna have a lot more music coming out. I have like, you know, collabs with like other artists happening. So gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, and a possible EP in the works. You know, like a lot of stuff.
So you're gonna be busy.
I'm gonna be busy next year for sure, but I'll never like you're gonna be hearing me on the radio. I'm assuming quite a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if you want to hear like Claudia's music and everything, we are playing it on Hits FM. I'm sure the new one we will still be playing it on Hits FM. But if anybody wants to keep up with what's going on in your life in general, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram. I'm at Claudia ATAN, and I'm also on Twitter, Claudia over here on Twitter, and on Wattpad as well as the same username. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And on TikTok?
Oh yeah, on TikTok is also Claudia over here. Yes, go follow me on my TikTok. Yes, please.
I'm obsessed with TikTok, so. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see the production come out very soon, and I can't wait to hear your new song.
Thank you so much. Finally, I get to meet you.
Yes. Hopefully the next time we'll be in the studio since things seem to be like going back to normal, right? I feel like I haven't met like people in a long time.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Invite me into the studio anytime.
I will, girl. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us for this episode, and I will see you in the next one.
The C Word with Calista.